I'm sure you heard ABC pulled the Jimmy Kimmel show from air last night, replacing it with Celebrity Family Feud, suspending him indefinitely. But before you get your hopes up too high, this is not a cancellation. It is a suspension. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring him back on air as soon as next week. But it's still going to be worth it because the liberal media, the Democrats, all the lunatics online haven't melted down this bad since I don't even remember when. This after he spread the ridiculous lie to his ignorant audience that Charlie Kirk's murderer is a MAGA Republican, quote, one of their own, and that Republicans are trying to score political points off of Charlie's death.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Just scoring political points because it's just a big game to them. So I'll show you the reactions from the liberal lunatics completely melting down and their incredible hypocrisy when they celebrated when Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox News, and compare and contrast that with the claims that a private corporation suspending a host for a despicable remark on air is somehow the equivalent of, well, you guessed it, a fascist takeover. So stay tuned, but real quick, subscribe to my channel if you're new here because you won't find another independent and politically incorrect news analyst like me anywhere else. I mean, heck, I really couldn't care less if you use the N-word. I mean, I wouldn't recommend using it on a stream or posting it on social media. I'm talking about like in your private life, IRL. In fact, I mean, if you don't use it on occasion in real life, then we can't be friends. It's long overdue that we start giving the left a taste of their own medicine because they celebrated cancel culture, even though this is consequence culture. This is a public safety issue. We're expelling the disgusting, dangerous degenerates from civil society who are celebrating the murder of a fellow American. But the Rolling Stone says that cancel culture is good for democracy, which is interesting because wait until you see what the Democrats are saying now. Little Brian Stelter asked the FCC chair, the Federal Communications Commission chair, Brendan Carr, if he had any new comments about ABC pulling Jimmy Kimmel's show. And Stelter says that he responded by sending him this gif. Hardest hit is Chuck Schumer, the most powerful Democrat senator in America, who ran to CNN to vent.
Senator Schumer, your reaction to this?
It is outrageous. It's a page right out of Xi's playbook. This is just despicable, disgusting, and against democratic values.
Now, those would be comments that some normal person would say about disparaging Charlie Kirk, about lying, and about celebrating his murder. But this is Chuck Schumer upset that a private corporation decided to make a business decision and pull a despicable dirtbag from air.
Trump and his allies seem to want to shut down speech that they don't like to hear. That is not what democracies do.
That's rich. That's really rich coming from you.
That is what autocracies do. And it doesn't matter whether you agree with Kimmel or not. He has the right to free speech.
His First Amendment right hasn't been violated at all. He hasn't been arrested, nor will he. Remember when they used to always tell us that these private platforms can ban and censor whoever and whatever they want because they're not the government, they're a private corporation, and they have standards and terms of service that they can have their users abide by.
And so it is just outrageous. It is indicative of autocracy, and I am just outraged by it.
Yeah, we're in a Nazi dictatorship now because a private corporation decided to suspend a dirtbag. But how ironic his cries of censorship ring when this was him calling on Fox News to censor and permanently ban Tucker Carlson.
These lies continue tonight. Rupert Murdoch, who has admitted they were lies and said he regretted it, has a special obligation to stop Tucker Carlson from going on tonight now that he's seen how he has perverted and slimed the truth.
Oh, the lies, like questioning the integrity of the 2020 presidential election here. Of course, in an authoritarian regime, you're not allowed to question the outcome of the elections.
and from letting them go on again and again and again. Not because their views deserve such opprobrium, but because our democracy depends on it.
Our democracy depends on Tucker Carlson being censored. Here is an FCC commissioner, a liberal one, on CNN last night. There's a bunch of different commissioners. They make up the commission and they all vote on different things, which is another reason why it's important to vote for a Republican candidate for president, even if they're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Always going to be major issues you disagree with them on. But this is how we can ensure that we at least get conservatives on the Supreme Court to get laws passed in our favor. And so here she is on CNN last night lying like the usual liberal about what happened.
So I think we really need to make very clear that the First Amendment does not allow us, the FCC, to tell broadcasters what they can broadcast. Personally, I'd rather not speak ill of the dead, but I understand Jimmy Kimmel is a satirist and a comedian. I saw the clip. He did not make any unfounded claims, but he did make a joke.
No unfounded claims. There they are, still going with the big lie that this was a right-wing extremist and an anti-Semite, not a leftist trans cult member. The Sinclair Broadcasting Group, which owns a bunch of local ABC affiliates, announced that on Friday they're going to air a tribute to Charlie Kirk in place of Jimmy Kimmel's show. And they are calling on Jimmy Kimmel to apologize and make a large donation to Turning Point USA. And the reason why this happened is because another big conglomerate called Nexstar, which owns a bunch of local television affiliates, they made the announcement that they were pulling last night's Kimmel show indefinitely from their network unless or until Kimmel apologizes and or maybe even gets fired. I'm not sure the details of what they're demanding, but they're the ones who first pulled the show, and then ABC, the producer, pulled it from all networks. The leading Democrat candidates for president in 2028 are, of course, voicing their outrage. Gavin Newsom says there is no such thing as free speech under Donald Trump's reign. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who is vying for that coveted Democrat nomination, even losing some weight so he doesn't look like such a disgusting slob, says that a free and democratic society cannot silence comedians because the president doesn't like what they say. Sorry, it's not just what the president doesn't like, it's your average American was outraged by what Jimmy Kimmel said, saying this is an attack on free speech because we know that Democrats love to dance on the grave of Charlie Kirk, and it cannot be allowed to stand. They will continue to dance on his grave, and we will continue to crush them peacefully and politically, giving them a taste of their own medicine. We have only begun to avenge Charlie's murder. All elected officials need to speak up and push back on this undemocratic act. So it's undemocratic for a private business to decide if they want to allow a dirtbag to talk on their network or not. There's no reason why J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, would be on a national stage chiming in on these issues if he wasn't prepping his 2028 run. So after posting that on X, on Twitter, he ran to MSNBC for some FaceTime.
This is the future of the country if we do not step up and speak out. That is my concern. And I've seen this over and over again. Look, I built a Holocaust museum with survivors. I've also read a whole lot about authoritarian regimes. This is the playbook, folks. If you're not paying attention now and doing something about it, well, then you're going to have to sit down the rest of your life because democracy is being taken away.
Democracy is being taken away because a dirtbag got suspended from his job. A dirtbag that celebrated President Trump getting censored from Twitter, posting this meme of President Trump sitting on the toilet with his phone, trying to post some tweets, showing that his account is suspended. The same clown who cheered when Tucker Carlson got censored from Fox News.
Fox News has severed bow ties with Tucker Carlson. After all these years, they are parting ways, which means he was fired. I mean, that's really what parting ways means.
All the Democrats not only celebrated that, but lobbied for it to happen.
We have very real issues with what is permissible on air.
Media organizations or social media platforms should be accountable for the role for being platforms for incitement.
Of course, nobody on our side is inciting anything, just pointing out biological facts about transgenderism or statistics about black crime. That's deemed racist and insensitive and bringing violence towards them.
I believe that when it comes to broadcast television, like Fox News,
Fox News is not broadcast television. The Fox Entertainment division is broadcast. They don't do news other than local affiliates. She's talking about the Fox News cable channel. Cable channels are not governed by the FCC. That's why, like on Comedy Central, they could swear. That's why on any cable channel, they could swear. So this just shows how dumb she is. I mean, we already know that. I mean, come on.
these are subject to federal law, federal regulation.
Again, they're not.
In terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't.
No.
And when you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do,
Admitting that our country has been invaded by tens of millions of illegal aliens, not just to carry out the wish of the Cloward Piven effect and just completely collapse the financial system, but you're not supposed to say this. Charlie Kirk did dare go there years ago to reduce the white majority population.
it is very, very clearly incitement of violence.
Just not wanting our country to be invaded is now inciting violence against the criminal invaders.
Very clearly incitement of violence. And that is the line that I think we have to be willing to contend with.
While they are literally celebrating Charlie's assassination and encouraging more violence, people like leftist streamer Destiny, a blue-haired LGBT personality who is allowed to keep his YouTube channel despite saying things like this on a regular basis.
Out the crime statistics? Not exactly like.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. Like, I don't know. It's like memes. It's just memes to everybody, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't care.
That is not taken out of context, by the way. He has made repeated claims like this, even admitting once that he planned a murder and almost carried it out. There's going to be some swearing in this clip, just adds up. I'm not sure if I'm going to bleep it out because it probably would take me a half an hour to do so because you know how these foul-mouthed liberals are. But this is him openly admitting to the plot.
Oh, I did troll the shit out of the DDoS kid. That's a guy, that's one of the people, like, legitimately, like, it's actually kind of scary, like, how close I was to getting people together to go down to his house and kill him and his family. Or it would have just been him and his father. Because I didn't know anything about it. Dude, that was some of the most fucked up shit in my entire life. I was so fucking close to doing it. But I was making so much money on Twitch, and I don't know if Nathan was involved in yet, but for whatever reason, I decided that the current life I had wasn't worth the risk of... Oh my god, I was so close to this fucking address. I had fucking streets mapped out and fucking you have no fucking idea. That's when I first started getting interest in, like, owning a weapon. I got a permit to own a gun and everything. Holy
He bought a gun specifically to carry out the plan. And his buddy Hassan Piker, who is Chunk Yogurt's nephew, who is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, streamers over on Twitch, also who has a YouTube channel, allowed to say things like this. I'm going to bleep the keywords because YouTube's AI will detect them and probably flag and take down my video for incitement to violence. But he, of course, is allowed to say things like this and have zero repercussions whatsoever, legally or on the platforms that he streams on.
Hurt poor people that they can afford.
If it hurts poor people,
housing in Berkeley, I don't know how that works.
My understanding of it.
He's talking about landlords who don't want to just rent at a low price to some people in Berkeley.
Is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all?
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Not taken out of context, literally an incitement to violence. And if we don't start seeing these people get indicted by the Department of Justice, then Kash Patel and Pam Bondi's a bimbo anyway. She's got to go. And Dan Bongino are all going to have to go. And while Chunk Yogurt has called President Trump a Nazi on countless occasions and called all of us a bunch of little fascists, his co-host, Anna Kasparian, has been slowly having a change of heart about a lot of things. And this was her last night on the Jimmy Kimmel situation.
Freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And Trump doesn't understand that. And so now taking out...
He looks like he's going to cry. Again, President Trump had nothing to do with this.
People who make fun of a politician?
No, it's not about making fun of President. See, there he is, always lying. He says it's because he's making fun of President Trump. No, it's because of his extremely insensitive, inflammatory lies about Charlie Kirk's killer.
To serve that up on a silver platter to Trump, no way. Disgusting.
I think I disagree with you. Like, the more I sit with what he said and the more I think about it. Look, guys, I mean, you have to consider, even if you loathe Charlie Kirk, put your shoes in the shoes of conservatives who saw one of their, top influencers, someone who had a tremendous amount of clout on the right wing. He gets assassinated. And so to make a declarative statement and pin the blame on the very people who are grieving the loss of Charlie Kirk before you have any evidence is...
When we all knew the evidence actually confirms why the killer did it.
Yeah, it's offensive. It's irresponsible.
And this is what's called consequence culture. And all of us know that something like this was a possibility for high-profile people, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad that I'm not in the top 10 most popular conservatives in America. I was the first to reach 1 million subscribers. You can check Social Blade to verify that. Before any and all of the other channels back in 2017. But of course, others have skyrocketed and far eclipsed me in popularity and in subscribership for numerous reasons, financial backing. But that's totally fine, because here is Charlie expressing what all of us in the business, all of us as Americans, as conservatives, have been concerned about.
My fear, Senator, and I hope I'm wrong, and let's stay in prayer that I'm wrong.
He's talking to Senator Mike Lee on the phone.
That someone is going to get shot the same way that Steve Scalise got shot, and God forbid, killed. The left is creating a pressure cooker with so many of their rank and file paramilitary troops that very well might result in one of us getting shot or killed. God forbid that happens. We're getting death threats every single day here on the Charlie Kirk Show.
Just like we all knew that some nutcase would eventually try to take a shot at President Trump and by some miracle missed by just millimeters. Sadly, Charlie not so lucky, but the Lord works in mysterious ways, and while they tried to silence him and stop his message and his mission, all they have done is shine a spotlight on it and caused it to spread thousands and thousands of times further, faster, and louder. There's a reason I titled my last book, The War on Conservatives, and if you enjoy watching my videos, you really love reading my books. They're a lot more serious, a lot more in-depth, a lot more hardcore and uncensored. I do have to kind of be careful what I say on YouTube and social media platforms around certain things. And I don't say that because I'm using any incendiary rhetoric or any racial slurs in the books, but we all know that there are certain topics that are very complicated to talk about without having an incredible cancellation force coming your way. So you should definitely check out The War on Conservatives. Get it in paperback from Amazon.com. Or in hardcover. Download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores. And if you enjoy watching my videos, you want to support my work, get a great shirt from markdice.com. Signal to others who are in the know that you're one of us. Get some awesome merch over there, some great mugs, some drinking glasses, all available in a t-shirt, long sleeve hoodie, and now women's cuts and tank tops as well. So head on over to markdice.com, click the link in the description below, and check them out.